All right, so tell me one decision you took one time based on people's opinion and how it turned out for you.
Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Okay, so I'm 32 years old, and this thing happened like 5 years ago. And there isn't a single day that's passed that I've not wished that I've had my phone switched off. Because one phone call was what made me lose my entire life till today. So to begin with, I met a guy a few months after I graduated, and his name is Osita. So he was a business guy, and he sold car parts, and he's Igbo. But the funny thing was, if you met him without hearing him speak, you would think he was not an Igbo guy. But still at that, I had never met any man who loved as intentional as Osita. By the way, that was my first relationship with any guy, any Igbo guy, because I'm from the north. So moving on, this guy was not a loud person or a controlling person. So if we had an argument, he was always the first person to say, let us resolve this before we sleep. He listens and he apologizes when he's wrong. And my best part about him was he pays attention to details. If I said I don't like something once, he remembers and doesn't repeat that thing again. See, I've dated before, but I've never experienced that before. See, this guy was so intentional that even if he was faking it, I would still feel special because I never knew men had that in them. So one day I was at his place and we're having calm conversation about things. He just casually said when he was younger, he told his mom that if he ever finds a woman who carries herself just like his mom, he will marry her.
Okay.
Then he was like, "You are the Gen Z version of my mom, and I would like to take next step. Come and see me smiling like a lost and found gold." And 3 months later, I met his parents and he met my parents. Our families had met, so we had already started traditional wedding plans. So everything was moving unbelievably fast. Wedding dates were already being discussed. See, like I said, I had never experienced peace in a relationship like this before. So I was low-key scared, honestly, because everything felt so good. And that was when I made the biggest mistake of my life.
What?
I involved outsiders, which were my friends. So is there as a normal conversation, I was at their place and they decided to ask me of how wedding preparations were going. I told them everything was fine. And instead of celebrating with me, one of them laughed and she said I was too relaxed. Then I said, relax, that's how? I don't understand. The second one now said, you're acting as if you're already his wife. Do you even know who you're marrying? I said, yes now. She was like, no, you only know the version he wants you to see. Then he started planting fears in me. He said things like, men change after marriage, businessmen have women everywhere, and the nice ones are the most dangerous. Don't be fooled because he's calm. Investigate him very well, oh. Now graduate you be.
Are you serious?
See, when they said those things, chills went down my spine. But I kept on defending him. But every positive thing I said always had a negative reply from them. Then one of them said something that refused to leave my mind.
What?
A woman doesn't lose her marriage on the wedding day. She loses it months before because she ignored the sign. And in this my case, it is called sheep clothing sign. They actually said a lot though, but there was one friend among us that never said anything. When everybody finished talking, she just looked at me and said, peace is hard to find though. Enjoy everything you get now before you go use man and cheat, spoil everything.
Bam. And
I wish I listened to that girl, but instead I chose to listen to my other friends because they were saying what my fears wanted to hear. So a few weeks later, Osta traveled to Onitsha to restock his shop. He left his laptop at my place because he wanted me to help him print something and wait for his call because according to him, he had a clash of activities for that day. So while I wanted to open the files because he told me where to find them, okay, but then I decided to do my findings. Not that I had anything against him, but I wanted to just prove myself and my friends right. So I went to his WhatsApp, I opened it. I couldn't find anything, so I opened his favorites and I saw a girl. Then later I realized it was his sister. But then I still checked further. So then I discovered a hidden account with regular transaction monthly to the same woman. I was quiet for a while because I didn't know what that meant. So instead of me to wait for him to return or maybe call him and ask, I decided to do otherwise. I quickly snapped it and sent them to my friend and showed them all. So they told me, use your brain, no, because no man sends money to a woman secretly if she's not important. So with all evidence, he's cheating. And don't confront him because he will manipulate you. What you should do is to call both families, since you have both picked a date for marriage. Then let everybody hear the truth together. Don't let him twist the story. These are my friends talking. I wanted somebody to tell me that they were wrong, but nobody did except for that my quiet friend I had earlier spoken about. She called me secretly and told me, please don't call his parents until you have heard from him. You can still ask him. Then I said, what if he lies? Then she now said, at least you have now given him the chance to say the truth. But I didn't listen because majority of my friends were already feeding my fears. So without Oster knowing, I had already called his parents and told them to meet me urgently. But it was late already that day, so they said they will come the next morning. I didn't tell them why, I only said it concerned the marriage. And they should not tell their son that they were coming because I didn't want him to prepare them lies. So the next day, I didn't even go to work. I took a sick leave. I was waiting for his parents because I told them once they reached the park, they should give me a call. So when they took off, they told me they were on their way. And normally, if they had left by that time, they would have reached by noon. But it was already to 3 and I have not heard from them. So I tried calling but no response. So I waited for them. So later on, Oster called me around 4 p.m. and he was crying. So I thought it was probably his goods that he bought. Maybe something had happened, but it was something else.
What?
So I told him to talk. Then he finally spoke and said his parents were involved in an accident. So he said his dad died instantly and his mom died few minutes after she was admitted to the hospital.
Jesus.
My phone fell from my hands. If I was more than 40 then, I would have had an heart attack. And that was how everything stopped. Nothing mattered anymore. For weeks, he had mourned his parents and he never asked why they were traveling. And me, I couldn't talk, so I buried my guilt with me. About 6 weeks later, I couldn't carry it anymore, so I went to his place. It looked like someone who has aged 20 years in less than a year. But still, I asked him one question. Were you cheating on me? He looked at me for almost 10 seconds, then he asked me, why will you be asking me this kind of question now? That was when I asked him about the secret account. I was just talking and he didn't interrupt me for once. He was just looking at me talk. So when I was done, he stood up, went into his room, brought his laptop and he opened a file. Inside were adoption papers, receipts, school fees payments. He now said, do you remember I had once told you about my late elder brother? I had totally forgotten that he had ever mentioned something like that to me. He now said that woman is his widow. She has been raising 2 children alone and I have been supporting them all this while. He opened the transfers and all the transfers had description of maybe school fees or books. He even opened some of their WhatsApp voice notes and the children were calling him uncle, not daddy. He just smiled. That was one of the saddest smiles I have ever seen. I couldn't speak. Everything became clear within seconds. He looked at me and asked me this question. How long have you been holding this? And I said for a few weeks now. He then asked me, why didn't I ask him? But I had no answer. He then said, let me guess. You're the one that called my parents to come because of this matter, right? I was still quiet. I couldn't give him an answer. Because he said his mom called him and told him they were coming, but never told him a reason why, just said they were coming. So he asked to confirm if he was right. Did you invite my parents to come because he saw the hidden accounts? And that was when I nodded my head. He then lied down with his back and started crying. I could hear this guy cry, even without raising my head. Then he stood up and asked me yet another question, but I had no answer because of my stupidity. Why did my parents have to die trying to answer a question you would have asked me? Now I couldn't hold it anymore. That's why I started crying too. I was begging him to forgive me, that I was scared, I was stupid, and I was just being skeptical because everything was happening too quick. He just stood up, went and opened the door and asked me to leave. That you came into my life and made I and my siblings orphans. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but you are the biggest mistake, so please leave. That was there I lost myself and everything. And that my one friend who warned me was the one I ran to and told my problem. But she never for once told me I said so. She simply hugged me and told me, I know it's not easy, but it could have been worse, so let us be grateful. And if there's one thing I want anyone to take away from my story is what you suspect might really be true, and your friends might be right. The signs you notice may genuinely be pointing to something serious. So I'm not asking you to ignore your instincts. I'm asking you to respect communication before you respect assumptions. Because there are two possibilities. Either what you find out is true or not. And you'll never know which one it is. If the person you speak to is everyone and not the person involved. I've realized a lot of things after what has happened to me. Number one, I've never been insulted, abused, or looked down on simply because I calmly ask someone to explain what I don't understand. As a human being, wanting clarity is not weakness, and communication isn't cowardice. It is actually one of the bravest things two adults can actually do. So stop believing that asking questions will make you look desperate, because making life-changing decisions without asking questions is what destroys life. And another thing, stop allowing people who are not carrying your relationship to be making decisions for you. Because the same people who gave me advice were not there when I was crying or when my in-laws to be were being buried. They were not there when my wedding ended like a child's play. And finally, please stop searching for a perfect partner because it does not exist.
Bam.
Human beings are not products. They are people, very unpredictable. So marriage isn't about finding someone who has no flaws. It's about finding someone who you are both willing to grow with. That's why patience, grace, and communication exist. So if you're looking for perfection, you may spend the whole of your life being disappointed. So before you involve your friends, family, or even social media into something sacred as marriage, involve the person you're planning to spend the rest of your life with first. Because sometimes the conversations you're avoiding today is the conversation that could save you tomorrow.